They say walk in your truth and not in your shadows. They also tell you you're too much, making you feel like a burden, but they always want you to speak up for what isn't spoken. Unspoken truth, hiding behind an unspoken poet, unspoken stories, never get told by unspoken words.
Yo, what's good? It's your girl, Becky the Poet from the Unspoken Words podcast. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're getting closer to 100. I just want to let you guys know, thank you for listening. If you have been listening to all of the episodes in season 10, I'm so happy. If you have, comment below. If you're on YouTube, if you have not and it's your first time, my name is Becky the Poet. I'm here for it, all of it. All right, you guys, so I just wanted today to touch upon a couple of topics, right? The very first one is do what makes you happy. I know we are walking into this new year and we're like, I wasn't as happy I was in 2020, right? And you're like, what do I do in 2021? I'm gonna tell you this. Just do what makes you happy, right? Whether it's running around crazy, do it. Whether it's freaking making YouTube videos, do it. I sound like Shia LaBeouf, you know? It's crazy now.
Do it! Just do it!
But I'm just saying, do what makes you happy. The reason why I say that is because we get so caught up into doing things for others, right? We want to make them happy, even if it's our significant others, right? Even if it's our parents, you want to go get that degree and be a doctor, but then you're like, oh, I don't know if this makes me happy. You kind of just have to do it for yourself, right? And a lot of it falls into being afraid of failure, right? I will admit this to you. Ever since middle school, I've been afraid of failure, just because I feel like one, just being Asian, you want to live up to what your parents want, right? Like the best for you, right? And to be successful in an Asian household, sometimes it's owning your own house, buying a car in your own, like by yourself, and also maybe getting a job where your parents doesn't have to fund for you anymore, and then getting married, right? I feel like Asian parents take those 4 things to the heart, you know? And if you're at a certain age, or you're not married, or you don't have a house, or all this and stuff, they're just like, you failed in life. And this just kind of makes you feel like, oh my gosh. So I even have family members who aren't pursuing careers that their parents want, you know, which is hard because, you know, you go have lunch with your mom and they're like, dude, you're like not making a lot of money, but whatever you're doing, you're enjoying it, right? So it goes back to doing what makes you happy, right? And if all else fails in life, what do you do next? You know, I know sometimes we don't have a backup plan for what we're doing, right, at that moment in time. I do believe that things fall into place when they should. The universe and God has been such a blessing in my life and other people's life, where sometimes I see things that happen twice and I'm like, yo, like, I think it's time for me to grow, to go, or to do something different, right? Because there's always signs. Like you heard before with Jules, she talks about how if you tune into your intuition, you know, it's like muscle memory, where if you do it often, you start to realize that things aren't feeling right when they really aren't right, you know? We tend to get caught up into what social media tells us, right? Don't be scared of failure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, I admit it all the time, I'm scared of failing, you know? For example, like if this podcast, like I don't know if I'll ever like be big with it, but I don't want to fail at doing it, right? So I put so much pressure into it. You put so much stress into your passion projects to the point where you're just like, crap, like this is turning into something that's not how I wanted. And in previous episodes, I talked about taking it back to your very first episode, to just listen to how things have happened. What did you do then that you were happy about your passion projects to what it is now, right? And also, in general, life brings you all these tests, and you should just do it and just understand that being patient is the answer to everything, right? Sometimes you aren't happy at something, but once you get to know how to do it, or as life continues, you become patient, you become happy with it, right? And hone into who you really are, because if everything fails in life, right? If life just happens to be a negative downhill on your life roller coaster, right? Eventually, there's gonna be something that pushes you, and it'll take you back up to the top, right? So don't be worried about failure. And I'm not just talking to you who are listening. I'm also talking to myself, right? Because like I said before, failure is scary, right? We hate failing. And so 3 things I've learned about how to be happy and how to not be afraid of failing is I've learned to honestly cut the alcohol. I have real friends who tell me this. Sometimes you can't constantly use alcohol as an answer to everything, you know? You may not be drinking alcohol as much as I do, but I drink it often, sad, happy, whatever. And sometimes it's not a great outcome, right? And then 2, what I learned is if I fail, I won't call it a failure. I'll just call it a trial, right? Because I tried it. It didn't work out the first time, but let me try it one more time differently, and maybe the second time it'll be a lot better, right? And then 3, I've learned to accept that sometimes things aren't meant for me at that time. You know, sometimes you try to reach out for opportunities, right? And you don't get any replies back. You don't get emails back. But you got to realize sometimes even when you apply for a job, they look at your stuff 6 months later and they like, oh, are you still interested, right? Even though you're probably like, dude, I already have a new job, blah, blah, blah. But things take time. It may not be your time at that moment in life, but it will be next time. You know what I'm saying? So you guys, I want to leave you with a positive quote, is to just really, really be afraid, but use that moment of being afraid to get out of that situation, to crawl out of it, and know that it's gonna be okay. I know we get so caught up into other people, everything else, and like I said, being scared of failure and all this stuff. You just get so caught up into the negativity of it, you don't see any light, any outcome of it, right? Please walk into this year with your head up high and just never look back into your past and just keep moving forward, you guys. Please share this podcast. Like it, subscribe to it, you know, share it with somebody new, right? Reach out to me on my Instagram at Becky the Poet. You can even reach out to Unspoken Words Podcast, both of them, because I'm active on both, right? Ask me anything. And then if you want to hop on the show, email me. We'll talk about it. All right, you guys, this is Becky the Poet, checking out of the Unspoken Words Podcast, episode 98. We are out.